I'm here with Vitaly Kamluk from Kaspersky Lab. Vitaly, thank you very much indeed for talking to Interpol World Television today. What are Kaspersky Lab doing with Interpol?
Well, as you might know, Kaspersky Lab actually has an agreement with Interpol, and we work in different areas. First of all, we contribute to the success of GCI, this new complex in Singapore, by providing some of our equipment, some of our expertise, and myself actually seconded here. So I'm full-time employed and working from Interpol office, helping with malware analysis and any kind of side activities or ongoing investigations. So it's one contribution. The other contribution is we're providing own equipment with a number of tools that are used to analyze malware and do conduct cyber investigations effectively. We also provide some servers with a number of services running on them to access our databases of knowledge and statistical data that can be useful for investigation by law enforcement.
So Kaspersky Lab are at the forefront of the cyber war. How difficult is it to stay ahead of the threat actors?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In fact, our company have been focusing on creating a professional endpoint protection solution, but we also look into the professional cyber espionage, cyber sabotage operations. So we're investigating advanced cyber attacks, and it's very hard to keep up with growing trends because the attackers are getting more and more advanced comparing to everything we knew before. So we're kind of climbing a big mountain, and every time we make a bigger and longer leap every time. So it's very hard for us, although we try hard to stay ahead sometimes. And for example, our recent research paper that was a joint work of Interpol and Kaspersky that we presented at Black Hat Asia here in Singapore just weeks ago was a good example of that collaboration of Kaspersky and Interpol, where we are trying to be ahead of the threats, and we actually warned people about potential future threat before it actually happened. Before the technology that is behind this threat, and that is cryptocurrencies, is widely adopted and standardized, we are trying to raise some alerts and to make people think of the better way to implement technology securely.
So what are the biggest threats that you see at the moment, and where do you see them developing over the next few years?
So some of the most warning threats for us is an adoption of advanced persistent threat methods by traditional cyber criminals. Research that we published this year named Carbonag, it was a good example of that, when cyber criminals started copying techniques of professional cyber attackers, which perhaps even have very powerful sponsors behind them. They are trying to adopt the same techniques. They're using the same methods, the same tools to attack and get some financial profit, a legal profit for them. And they focused on financial sector. They tried to hit a number of banks in different countries, and by some estimations, the loss is counted currently in hundreds of millions of dollars, which basically explains how big this threat might be. And this is just one example, and unfortunately this seems to be becoming a trend. That's why we are really worried of a larger adoption of such techniques.
Vitaly, thank you very much indeed for talking to us at Interpol World TV.
Thank you for having us here.